initially came in for therapy after her mother died, as she was overwhelmed with grief. As the sessions went on, we discovered that she had other underlying issues. For instance, it was difficult for her to maintain good relationships while keeping healthy boundaries with her family. As a child, she always felt judged at home, making her feel like she wasn't good enough. Even as an adult, she still feels a low sense of self-worth and confidence.
At the time, I was struggling with my family, so I was mentioning that I have difficulties, maintaining healthy boundaries or relationship with my family. So it was very difficult at that point. So because growing up, I didn't have I wouldn't say I had a very bad childhood, but I just didn't have a very easy childhood where I was constantly judged, put down. So at home, right, I was like constantly being compared, because I have a sister. So then my father was only around physically also. So he wasn't there to provide emotionally and wasn't responsible also. Growing up, so my mom was the main caregiver. So it was really tough for her, and also she tended to side with my sister because it's the easier way out for her. Yeah. So for me, it was very difficult for me because as time passes, right, I'm always like taking on responsibilities or giving in. Then my sister acted selfish, lack of empathy for the family. I think most challenging was, I think as I grow up, because I tend to know about things, right? So I think the most challenging was probably 7 years ago, where it was my lowest point. So at that time, I remember that I was like crying every night, that I feel very suffocated when I wake up in the morning. So because I couldn't see any hope at home, then I was like feeling very confused about the future, like, what's going to happen in the future, am I always going to be stuck in this cycle? And also I felt that I wasn't good enough. So I think the challenging part, as you asked, is about staying at home, because every day I have to face my sister when she doesn't have boundaries, and every day I'm expected to give in to her. Yeah. So I have to keep quiet about things. Then when there's only so much I can take in, right? So when I finally burst, that I got blamed for it, for creating trouble at home. I guess because growing up, I was always constantly criticized, being compared, saying that, oh, this is not good enough, I would never be good enough, like no matter how hard I try, even for grades, for example, for results. No matter how hard I try, I felt that I put in my effort, and I see an improvement, but it was just never good enough at home. I guess now thinking back, I felt that I could have achieved a bit more if I had that confidence in myself. Not saying that I'm not good now, but I guess I just really didn't have the confidence. So my father, although he's here physically, but he never contributed to anything towards us as a family, like be it financial or be it, there's something that we need him to be around. He was never ever there. So he's constantly growing up. I feel that's part of me missing, because I always don't know what that part was. Yeah, so it's like always feeling very empty. So it's also building up that anger, resentment also. Sometimes, okay, when we were sick or something like that, we need someone to, like, if my mom was not around, my mom was at work, we need someone to go to the hospital or go to the clinic, but he just never helped. So we really needed that support. So for example, like minor things like that. So it made us feel quite vulnerable at that time, because that you wanted someone to support, you needed an adult to help you out, but he just couldn't deliver. I think it taught me to be independent, but independent in the way that you're being forced to. I guess I just wanted to try it out initially because, I think previously it wasn't that popular, right? Yeah, so I guess it's getting much made aware to the public, right? So I just wanted to try it out and see, how to process my feelings or process my thoughts. Yeah. I think my first impression was when I go into counseling, I'm getting advice. Someone will tell me what to do. That's my first impression. Like, someone will solve my issue. So I get the solutions from the therapist. So actually, I went to a few therapists. I think the one I remember, one of them is I went, and each time I had to repeat my whole story again. So it's like, so for example, this week I went for a session, then probably a month later. So I was like always repeating the whole things because the therapist couldn't remember what I shared. So that was not very helpful because I felt that the therapist was quite patronizing. And there was no improvement because each week I'm just repeating the same thing. So each week I felt stagnant at that time. Then the other one I remember, when I went for sessions, I felt that the therapist was quite judgmental. So it didn't make me comfortable at all. So I felt judged. I felt that the comments made were really personal, and I felt that questions asked were not very relevant to what I was sharing. So I felt that I understand that you need to dig more background information, but the therapist was starting to put in his own reactions. Like he said, like you're not supposed. Like he was like, oh, okay, so that happened. Then like he gave a bit of laugh, that kind. Yeah. I still went on to try, but for that particular therapist that I felt very judged. I think one of the point is each time I go for sessions, I felt worse after that. So I know that it's time to change. So I still wanted to try because I still see that there are benefits of the counseling. Yeah. I guess the therapist is very patient. So I think I remember first few sessions were really information taking, which is fair enough. Then it was also really validation. I think that's very important for me. Is like, whatever I'm feeling now, it's in a way it's normal. It's nothing wrong feeling what they are. Like feelings are what they are, right? Yeah. Then slowly I see improvement, as in they're more digging into deeper stuff. For example, I feel very upset at home, right? There are more underlying stuff rather than what's the underlying thing that is affecting me. I guess it helps you to recognize things, or to find out things, or to find out the very underlying issue. I think most importantly, not feeling judgmental, not feeling being judged. I think that's very important. You have to feel comfortable with the therapist. I think that's very important. And sometimes, not saying that all therapists are bad, right? Sometimes it's just maybe if the vibe just don't work, the style just don't work. Not saying that the therapist has anything wrong with the therapist. It's just that it just didn't work. So it's always okay to keep finding. I think, yeah. I think what has changed was I thought I knew myself, so I started to realize things that I didn't realize before. So I thought I knew myself well, but I start to recognize there are certain things I never ever came across about. Yeah, I think the first step for me, right, is to recognize first. Have to recognize there are many issues in my set, but I was like denying it also. I was denying the true feelings about it. So it was like not lightening the sack. So I realized that sometimes it's not about removing entirely the sack. A small part may still be with us, but it's really how heavy that we can carry. I guess as much as I keep blaming that my childhood, right, my childhood shaped how I turn out to be, but at the same time, growing up, I realized that I constantly circle in this bubble, so I constantly couldn't let go. So and I realized that we will always have a sack around us, like we carry around a sack, but this sack, right, may follow us, but it's about how much things we carry inside the sack. So actually we can lighten it. I do think it's good to seek help rather than sweeping things under the carpet. Like I mentioned for myself, I'm like carrying a sack over my shoulder, right? So as much as there are certain things that are not within our control, but after seeking therapy, we can choose how to protect ourselves and also to see things in a different perspective also. So it's not about getting rid of the sack. Maybe we will never be able to get the sack, but it's also how to lighten the sack also.
Hannah has received over a year of therapy, which has helped her to move on with life. She feels lighter as a person in general. She is able to appreciate herself as a person and set better boundaries with others. She hopes for others who are struggling or confused with life to seek help, and to have someone to walk with them on this journey. She shared that she is still working on herself to have a better self each day.